Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world today. I hope you're absolutely fantastic. So, I've been asked what's next? What's going to happen with the price? Okay, so where to next? Well, to take it a step back from there, when I called this dump on the 20th of January, what I expected was for the price action to get into this range over here. All right, so you can see there is that support line with my mouse is following down, and then there's this intersection, this apex of arc 4 and the 1/2 Gann line. So what's happened instead is that it went down and dropped to that level here first, and then kind of sucked itself back up to arc 3. All right, so if you don't know what I'm talking about, if you double click on the Gann square, you'll see that they call it arcs and fans. So the fan lines are the support and the arc lines are the resistance. So it's being resisted or held at arc 4. So if I take that away, whoops, I meant arc 3. And for me, there's one or two scenarios playing out. All right. One is that we either see it come back down, which will have to be below where it got to, because in trend, you have to have lower lows and lower highs, right? So for it to be downtrend, you got to have a lower low, and that's the lowest low right now. So it's got to be down here. Is the one probability I'm eyeing out, and I think it is a high probability of happening. I also want to move that across to see what date that may happen at. So it says here the 16th of February, and today's the 9th of February. So it's going to take 16 minus 9, whatever that is, about a week to get from there to there, I think. All right, so that's an option I'm eyeing out, and it'll do so down this support line. If that is not the case, then the alternative is that we're at a turning point where price turns around at, and we're going to see price start to build the evidence that it wants to go back up. All right. So if the scenario I've just described doesn't work out, then we're going to see something like a concentric circle. Let me just get again tool to give you a better indication of what that may look like. So it'll look a bit like that. Okay. So I know everything's a bit messy, but just by putting this down, I do feel that there is a possibility that we could actually have hit the bottom. And then price is trying to etch across before going back up. Let me just zoom out and take a look at the full cycle. All right, so we're in quadrant 2, and that's the end of quadrant 4. And if we do see it turn here, I think it's going to be too soon, because the next location for it to head towards will be in the middle of the cycle, aka turning point 5. So for it to climb all the way out here in a downtrend, right? Downtrend because we got lower lows, and again over here lower lows and lower highs. So there's lower highs over there. I don't see this downtrend as over. So for this to get out to there, that means it's going to have to etch across and then go quite gradually in a flat-like way to get into that region, just as it did at the close of last year. Okay, I need to improve this. Okay. So that was unfortunately what we saw last year. And then obviously the big move down. But for it to get to that region from this as a potential turning point, it will have to do something similar to that to get across into that region. So what I'm hoping for is that it's the first scenario where we don't have a turning point just yet, and that it's going to continue down the line. Yeah, I'll get the objects back. I think bang. Let me zoom back in. The other thing I was wanted to check on that is just seeing what my custom MACD is doing. Okay, so the other thing is that we don't have a switch over here. So looking at the oscillator, that switch took us to that turning point. All right. That switch indicated that turning point, but these lines are quite clearly rather open still. So for that reason, I do foresee the price is going to go down. The first area I want to investigate would be here. That would be 61,000. But the other area, if that doesn't work out, will be down here at 53,000. So let's first see what happens here. This see, it's got to break down that level, right? Because to continue the downtrend, price has got to break lower lows. So that got down to 60,000. So it's got to go sub 60,000 to complete this move over the next week, should that be the case. It's very difficult to get this final leg, because it can happen where it feels like you're in the middle. You're in the middle of the options. It could go up. Like over here, it's obvious because it had to come back down. So that's why I passed the. By the way, if anyone cares, I know that there's a lot of guys out there who speak a big game and they can't back it up. Here's evidence that I've passed a prop firm challenge. There's the date, there's my name, there's a certificate from the owner and all the rest of it. So what I'm saying is that, like, this is real deal stuff. I trade for a living. So when I give advice, it's not just because I want you to pat me on the back or give me a like or a share or something to that effect. This is real world application, right? So I'm passing prop firm challenges with my work, etc. So that's where I'm at. Is it going to drop between those levels in the next week, or are we going to see something going up? I'm thinking it's going to go down. So I'm going to go open up a short position and then just keep an eye on it. I'm not expecting anything drastic as of like in the next little while for it just to kind of drop down. However, if I'm wrong and it starts to climb, then obviously I'm going to have to reevaluate, take that small loss, relatively small loss, percentage of account version of small, not monetary small, and then wait for it to get its formation out the way and then ride it on up. All right, that's it for today, guys. If you got any questions, hit me up in the DMs and we can chat. I've got a community that's growing, and a lot of serious people from around the world, serious fund managers and beyond, who are showing keen interest on my work. As I've been around here for a long while, I've got almost 6,000 followers and such. So yeah, if you're looking to upscale the way you trade, reach out and let's chat. I think I can give you a big leg up on how to be successful on the markets. All right, that's it for today. I'll catch you in the next one. Ciao for now.